Okay, hi, thanks for having me. I'm going to talk about my journey and my experiences as an NFT artist, and I'm going to talk about why I think NFTs have a positive impact on creatives. So I'm going to start with introducing myself a bit and my work. So my name is Shenja Tatschke. I'm an illustrator, animator, and digital artist based in Berlin, Germany. I make small GIFs, some illustrations, sometimes short films. My work is very character-driven, sometimes weird, sometimes funny. I mostly work on the iPad. I do 2D work. They're hand-drawn, and my animations are frame-by-frame cell animations. So, of course, I do a lot of personal projects, even before I did NFTs. But I also work for clients. I work for editorial clients for magazines, or I do social media content for brands or advertisement for brands. And here's some of my personal work, some little gifts that I do. Here's some of my client work. Again, social media content, magazines. I'm gonna talk now about my experiences with NFTs, my journey, how I started, how it's going, and maybe what kind of issues there were along the way, doubts, but also why I love NFTs and how it changed the way I work now. So I sold all in all 11 NFTs on the foundation platform in a range of 0.1 and 0.45 Ethereum. I also sold a lot of my work on a Tezos platform called Tikinong for a lot less money, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, about the differences of Tezos and Ethereum networks in my experience later. Now I'm just going to talk about how it started. So I got aware of NFTs in February 2021 when I saw the first 3D artists on Instagram sell their work for cryptocurrency for a good amount of money because they were really good and already very established. But I thought the concept of that was really interesting and very promising. But at this time, I didn't really have time to look into it because I was still working on a big commission. So I couldn't really start right away, but I was getting impatient because I thought that's such a great thing. That's really so promising, and I kind of had to wait until March, and then I really wanted to try it, and so back then I was lucky enough that I had a digital artist friend who got a foundation invite. So the foundation is the platform, NFT platform where you need the invitations for. And at the beginning it was a bit hard to get those invitations because there were not many people on there that could give you an invitation. So yeah, that was a lot of luck for me because he could give me an invitation then because he got one from a friend as well. And I thought it kind of makes more sense to upload the first thing on a more curated platform, maybe a bit more sophisticated platform to just start out. But at the same time, when the hype came with NFTs, there were a lot of loud voices saying how NFTs are really bad and scams and how they're really bad for the environment. And of course, then, I was excited about it, but also there came the doubts, and artists that I really admired started to make posts about how they basically hate NFTs. So I had to consider this a little bit, but then I just decided that my excitement just is stronger about this. And then I started setting up my wallet and tried to understand crypto because I had no idea about crypto really. I knew that it existed, but I didn't know how it really works. And I don't have any coding experience or anything, but I think it was doable because there are so many YouTube tutorials out there. And I think if you're interested enough in that, it's just really possible to start from scratch with those things. And then I minted my first animation. That was the one. That was my Genesis piece. And then, of course, I realized, oh, it's kind of expensive to mint it without having any clue if anybody would even care or sell it. And yeah, so but I have kind of this approach that I just try out everything, even if I don't know if it works, because I think what I do in my career is I just put myself out there as much as possible, and you can never know before. Some things you feel like they're a bit of a long shot, and then they work out, and other things you feel, oh, that's gonna be easy, I'm just gonna do it, and then I fail, but that's just kind of part of the thing, so part of the whole process. So I wasn't really that worried, even though I put some money in, that nobody's gonna buy it. But actually, it got bought like within a couple of hours, and that was an amazing feeling that just someone would just buy it. So that was just a completely new concept, and yeah, I was really excited about this, and I'm really happy about it. And then I put up something else, which then didn't get picked up right away. And then I didn't want to put up, of course, and then I thought, okay, now I'm just gonna have to put up something like really, really good, like better than the ones before. It has to be really impressive. I just really want to make one piece that I can put up and be proud of, and that maybe somebody wants to buy. And then I had this concept in my head for it, and I knew it would take me a lot of time to create. But then I had this goal for it, so I worked on this like maybe 3 weeks or something. And to be honest, I would have never done this if not for the goal to have this as an NFT, because usually I would make stuff, my personal work, that is a little bit faster, so then I can post more frequently on Instagram. But yeah, so it was really great to give myself the permission to work on something more time intense, and that was the animation. It was really, yeah, took a while, and actually now I made a series of this concept to have like these crowd scenes that work that kind of move together, and it's really time intense. And all of these animations have taken me like I'm so sorry. Have taken me a lot of time, and but I've sold all of them also as NFTs. So this project never would have appeared if it wouldn't have been for NFTs. So so yeah, that was a bit about my experiences. But now I'm gonna talk about why I think NFTs kind of change the narrative for creatives in general, and why they really matter. In addition to that, obviously, you can make money with this. But I think there's something else to it, because if you're a visual creative and you want to be a professional freelancer and you want to make a living out of this, you're not just gonna work for clients all the time. So you will want to, but also kind of have to make your own personal projects to attract those clients and to get attention. And then of course you're gonna make your little illustration or animation, you're gonna post them on Instagram, which is great, or other social media, which is great, because it's great that we have this opportunity to get seen and get visibility. But on the other hand, you're gonna post something and then you're gonna think, oh, why didn't that get as many likes or as many as before, or why don't I have enough followers? What is happening? And then it's gonna influence the way you work a little bit. And I try to never really care about it. I'm also not really good at social media, so I'm trying to focus on my work. But it's always a little bit annoying. The pressure is there that you just feel like you're not doing enough for your career if you're not doing this right with the social media. So you constantly want to kind of feed the social media. And another thing that animators do sometimes, and that I also did, especially in the beginning, was to make like little animated stickers, and you put them on GIF platforms so that you can use them in your Instagram stories or in chats, and it's a lot of fun, and other people can use them as well. And it's great because you see that you're gonna get millions of views on that. But at the end, it doesn't even matter for your career because nobody's gonna know that you really did this. And you don't even get this kind of exposure for it. It's just basically just fun, and you're doing this for a corporation. Or even if you work for a client, and it's also great because you get money and they ask you to do it in your style, and it can be a great challenge and it can be really nice, but it might at the end not look like what you actually wanted to make, because of course the client has his own or their own idea of how it should look like in the end. And also, if you have an artist mind, you're just gonna feel like that your art or your work is tool for brands to just or companies to just sell their products, and it can feel weird at times. And I personally don't really like the term commercial art. I think it's basically it's more like a design thing maybe. And I feel this change with NFTs, and I'm gonna be honest, I never referred to myself as an artist before I sold my first NFT, because I felt like technically it's not, because it's just on social media, people scroll, it's just quick content, or it's just for brands, it's just design, or so of course it had value for me, but not this art value. And now all of a sudden, collectors look at these NFTs, they look at these animations, and they see art in it, they see something they want to put in their collection, and it added so much value just for this perception of the work that before this just wasn't there. So of course it added value in terms of money, but also value as in how it's perceived. And I think this is amazing. So now we can confidently work on our creations and thinking, okay, this is going to be art, and not just I'm doing this now also to just feed the algorithm of Instagram or to just promote myself as a freelancer. And yeah, I think this is just amazing and a beautiful thing. So another thing that's great about NFTs is that you can collaborate with other people. Of course, you could do this before. You can do everything. You can just do your art, but and also with others. But in this case, it's a bit like a community, and you work towards something that also might make money in the end. And it's just there's just this goal and this vision you have with other people. So one thing I contributed something to was the hands collection from artist DP. He created those hands, and then he asked a lot of artists to just make their own version of it. This is my contribution. And I'm right now also working on a PFP collection, but I'm in the middle, and it's going to be a lot of learning because I don't really completely understand yet. I'm starting to understand a little bit how it works. But yeah, I'm also working with a team, and I hope that it's going to be interesting, and that we can work together very well on this. And I'm interested in how this is going to work out. And I'm realizing now that I forgot to talk about the Tesla's platform, Hikinung. Maybe a few thoughts on this, because after I minted my third animation on Foundation, and it didn't get picked up. Oh yeah, the one that I did only for as NFT. This actually got bought really quickly, so it kind of worked, putting that much time in. But after that, it went a little bit slower, and then artists started to go on the Tesla's platform, and where it's much cheaper. So actually, it's basically no money that you have to put into to mint the NFTs, and you can sell it for much cheaper and in much bigger editions. And there, all of a sudden, there was this great community around this, and artists would buy NFTs from other artists, and I did this as well. And so I could pick up a lot of great works, sometimes from artists that I'm admiring for years. And I also could resell them and make a little profit, and then it was a great learning experience, because then I understood what it actually means to also be a collector, what collectors might want, because before that, the whole idea seemed kind of crazy to me. So for me it was great, of course, that someone would pay for my work, but I didn't really understand why yet. And then I realized, oh, it's really actually a lot of fun, and it can also be profitable to just buy this and to collect this art. But yeah, I'm not on there as much anymore, because it just takes me so much time to create all this work, and right now I just have to sell it for a little bit more, and you can sell it better, in my opinion, or in my experience on the Ethereum platforms. Yeah, that was just, I kind of put this at the end, which was supposed to be in the middle, but yeah, so much about this. Thank you so much for letting me talk and letting me share my experience. You can get it with me if you want on Instagram or Twitter. And here's the animation. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us, Shenja. Maybe a few questions from the audience if there are any, and I have some as well. But I'll check in with the audience if there are any questions. Yep, on the back.
Just 1 second, I'll just put in my phone. Shall I have it? So everyone can hear.
Also show you the room if possible. I don't know.
Okay, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see me, but so how did you connect with the people who you were making the art for today? So you said you were working on a PFP, so I'm interested in how you navigated into the NFT space and find people who actually found your work and then asked you for making for you to make their work and that art for the collections, if you understand.
Did you get the question?
I think it was about how I connect with people and how I got the team for the PFPs, that way?
Yeah, and also basically how you go about marketing yourself. Like, how do you make connections, and how does marketing in the NFT space work?
Oh yeah, so basically most of the things happen on Twitter, and I didn't have any Twitter before, so I just did it for this, and it's just this. So it's just this Twitter bubble where everyone just talks about NFTs, and there I make connections. Instagram actually not so much. I don't think people like to talk about NFTs on Instagram, and they don't want to hear about it. That's why it's great that we have our safe space on Twitter. But for the PFPs, it was actually I got asked on Instagram, so someone reached out, and actually it happened before as well through email. But then it didn't work out with this kind of team. So now I'm trying again. Yeah. I hope this answered the question.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Any more questions? I do have one. Starting now and maybe in the next 5 years, do you imagine that you would make more of your time, more of your artwork through NFTs and digital space, or do you still think you'll have regular commissions from companies and corporates? Any read on that?
So right now I'm having a bit more commissions again, but the last couple of months are basically just at NFTs. So I'm gonna stay flexible, but I think now we kind of have more than a year where NFTs were super popular, and I just don't think it's gonna stop very soon. So I hope that it's gonna be for the next years. It's something that I can do. That would be ideal, of course.
And I think the previous speaker we had spoke about NFTs as utilities, giving access to communities, to airdrops, to events, and in relation with art as well. So how do you see that, art versus utility?
I think it's a great approach. It's just it's just that I basically mostly just want to make my art, and I'm not really good with all those marketing things, to be very honest. But I think it's great that it kind of has to be part of NFTs, because otherwise, yeah, it's just, especially when it comes to PFPs, because otherwise it's just small pictures, and especially with PFPs, I think that digital art itself can stand on its own, but PFPs maybe not. And I'm already thinking of maybe adding some utility, but I'm going to be slow with this, because if it doesn't come naturally to me, I don't really want to do it. But I think in general, it's a good thing to add utility.
And could you explain for all of us what PFPs are? How would you describe them?
Yeah, I'm really not an expert, okay, with this topic. I just bought my own recently, my first ones. So it's usually 10K profile amount of profile pictures that are generated through a computer. So they have different glasses, different clothes. So it's mostly profiles of animals or humans, or I think you've seen those on the slide on my presentation. So those were humans with some animals on it, and people buy it, and then they kind of usually, and because they get hyped, and the team promotes them well and adds utility. If you hold one through events or airdrops or tokens, then they can either be more valuable in the future and you can sell them, or they lose value. Sometimes happens as well. Yeah.
Any other questions, or it's time for a break now? Okay, the signal. Well, Shenja, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your work. I've been following your work for a few years now, and it's awesome stuff. And yeah, buy NFTs.